All right, geometry students, today we're going to talk about a transformation called a translation. A translation is to vertically and or horizontally slide a figure. The symbolic form is when you have your x and your y and you say x plus h, where h represents a horizontal slide. And when you have a plus h, you're going to move to the right. And when you have a minus h, you're going to move to the left. And you have a y plus k, where k represents a vertical slide. And if you have a plus k, it's going to move up. And if you have a minus k, you're going to move down. All right, let's take a minute and look at number 1 and number 2. Go ahead and pause your video and graph the original rectangle for number 1 and the original triangle for number 2. Then we'll talk about what happens to those points when we go to translate them. Okay, so hopefully you pause the video and you have those the original rectangle and triangle graph. Let's take a look at the transformation. It says we're going to do x plus 5 and y plus 7. That means we're going to move this figure right 5 and up 7. So let's talk about what happens to our points when we make these moves. So if we look at point Q, our x value is -6. We're going to take that -6 and we're going to move to the right 5. So -6 plus 5 is going to be -1. My y value for Q is -1. So we do -1 plus 7, that's going to get me a 6. Okay, so my translated Q point is going to be at -1, 6. Let's take a look at my R. My R, my x value is -3, so -3 plus 5 is going to give me 2. And my y value is 1. 1 plus 7 is going to give me 8. Okay, so hopefully you get the idea. We're going to do that to all of these points. Looking at point S, I have my x value of 1. 1 plus 5 is 6. And my y value, -5. -5 plus 7 is going to give me 2. For T, I have -2 for my x. -2 plus 5 is going to give me 3. And -7 plus 7 is going to give me 0 for my y. So let's go ahead and translate this. This is a slide. So if we take our graph and we move it to the right 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we move up 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So hopefully that should match where our points are. So taking a look at my Q, -1, 6, that's that guy right there. So that is our translated Q. For R, we have 2 and 8. That is our translated R. For S, we have 6 and 2. That's our translated S. And for T, we have 3 and 0. So that's our translated T. So we have translated this original rectangle to that new rectangle. Taking a look at our triangle in number 2. Again, let's take a look at what our movement's going to be. It's x minus 3 and y plus 8. So we're going to move to the left 3 and we're going to move up 8. So let's take a look at our points. For C, I have a 2. A 2 minus 3 is going to give me a -1 for my translated C point. And for my y value of my C is -1 plus 8, and that's going to get me 7. Okay, take a look at our D point. D is 7. 7 minus 3 is going to get me 4. And my y value, -4 plus 8, is going to give me 4. Okay, so taking a look at the last point of E. For E, we have my x value 4. 4 minus 3 is going to give me 1. And my y value, -6. -6 plus 8 is going to give me 2. Okay, so let's take our triangle now and let's translate it to the left 3. So 1, 2, 3. And we're going to go up 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's check our points and make sure that they work. So -1, 7 is right here, so that is my translated C. 4, 4 is my right there, which is my translated D. And 1, 2 is my translated E point right there, so that is the slide from my original to my transformed triangle. Okay, I want you to look at number 4. I want you to try number 4, and then we will come back and you can check your answers with mine. So pause the video, try number 4. and then we will check it. Okay, go ahead and check number 4. We have translated my red rectangle, square to my blue square. Okay, now I want you to try number 5, and I want you to transform that triangle and put the answers for the translated points into Edpuzzle. So pause your video and answer that. Okay, we're back. Let's take a look at number 7. For number 7 and number 8, we have to write a rule describing the translation below. So this is our original, and we know that because it doesn't have the marks on our points. So let's see what movement we did to get from our original to our translated triangle. So let's look at just one point. Let's take a look at F. So let's see how far to the left or right our F went. Our F moves to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 spots. So that means I'm going to have an X plus 7. It moves up 1, 2, 3, 4 spots. So that means we're going to have a Y plus 4. The way that we write that is XY, and then with an arrow, X plus 7 and Y plus 4. Okay, I want you to answer number 8 in Edpuzzle. All right, now let's take a look at number 10. We're going to do 2 transformations. We're going to do reflection, and then we're going to do a translation. So take a minute and go ahead and graph the original parallelogram, QRST, on your graph, and then we'll come back and do the reflection and the translation. Okay, so hopefully you have graphed your parallelogram. Now we're going to do a reflection over the line y equals x, which is what I have highlighted on our graph here. Remember from our notes yesterday that when you do a reflection over the line y equals x, you are going to keep your x and your y, but you're going to switch them. What that means is that my x value will become my y value, and my y value will become my x value. So the reflected points are shown below. Go ahead and pause your video and graph those reflected points. Okay, so now you can see that we have reflected QRST over the line y equals x. So now we're going to do the second part. We're going to do the translation of to the left 3 and down 7. So taking a look at our reflected points now, we're going to do that translation to these points. So -1 minus 3 is going to get me -4. 2 minus 7 is going to get me -5. 1 minus 3 is going to get me -2. And 7 minus 7 is going to give me 0. -2 minus 3 is going to get me -5. And -7, I'm sorry, my y values are my y value is 6. 6 minus 7 is going to get me a -1. For t, we have a -4. -4 minus 3 is going to get me a -7. And 1 minus 7 is going to get me a -6. So we're going to now slide the orange graph to get our final transformation. So go ahead and pause the video and graph those points. Okay, so this is our final transformed graph that we were looking for. We did a reflection over the line y equals x, and then we translated the graph to the left 3 and down 7. All right, let's take a look at number 11. Okay, I want you to pause the video and go ahead and graph the rectangle L, M, N, and P. Okay, the first thing we're going to do to this graph is we're going to translate it. That's because this one's A. We're going to translate it to the right 6 and down 8. So let's do that. Let's figure out our translated points. Going from L, if we go -2 plus 6, that's going to get me a +4. And if I do 7 minus 8, that's going to get me a -1. For M, 2 plus 6 is going to get me 8. And 3 minus 8 is going to get me -5. For N, 0 plus 6 is going to get me 6. And 1 minus 8 is going to get me -7. For P, -4 plus 6 is going to get me 2. And 5 minus 8 is going to get me -3. So go ahead and graph those points, pause your video and graph those points. That will be our translation first. Okay, as you can see, our orange graph is our translation to the right 6 and down 8. Now we're going to do a reflection over the y-axis. So we're going to highlight our y-axis here. Try that again. Highlight our y-axis here. And we're going to do our translation over that. Remember, when we translate over the y-axis, it changes the signs of the x's. It doesn't change the order, it just changes the sign. So if we take a look, our L is going to be a -4, -1. Our M is going to be a -8, -5. Our N is going to be a -6, -7. Our P is going to be a -2 and a -3. Let's go ahead and pause your video and graph that rectangle. All right, and here we have our last movement for this problem. Okay, and what I want you to do now is I want you to try number 12, pause your video and try it, and then we'll be all done and we'll see you tomorrow. Okay, here's our answer to number 12. Remember, when you're reflecting over the line y equals -3, only your x values are going to change. And then if you look, here is our final transformed triangle. Okay, have a great day.